The last decade has seen a wave of anti-caste films in Tamil cinema. This has been made possible post the commercial success of Ranjith's films like Attakatti, Madras and Kabali. The market has increasingly warmed up to such films. And now we have filmmakers like Mari Selvaraj, Vetrimaaran, TJ Nanavel and others who focused on making films that critique the structure of caste. However, these films are increasingly focused on portraying physical violence, and there seems to be a creative stagnation in how caste can be addressed. Hello, I'm Rajesh Rajmani. Welcome to Film Companion South. In this video, I'd like to discuss about the various problems of the anti-caste wave in Tamil cinema and the need to reimagine them. First of all, we have to acknowledge that the mainstream Tamil cinema has consistently been innovative and experimental in its storytelling, and this is what has made it possible to critique caste within the mainstream format, something that's not easily achievable in other film industries. But while we congratulate this new phenomenon in Tamil cinema, it is also important to look at its serious shortcomings. If we look at the recent films like Asuran, Karnan, Jaybeen or Mamannan, there is an extraordinary dependence on physical violence to make their point. It is almost as if physical violence is the only aspect of caste. But in reality, the very nature of caste, that humans aren't equal, itself a very violent concept. However, our films aren't able to holistically critique caste. Instead, they focus on too much between certain backward and scheduled castes. If it is northern Tamil Nadu, then it is violence between the Vaniyas and Pariyas. If it is southern Tamil Nadu, then the focus is on Mukkulathos and Devendra Kula Velalas. And in the west, it is the Gaundars and Arundaviyas. It is almost as if caste is only a problem of the Dalits and is captured as conflicts between these 6 castes. And the rest of the society is imagined to be caste-free. In fact, except for Ranjith's Kala, none of these films focus on the role of Brahmin in keeping the caste structure intact. For a moment, let's look at films outside India to see how social inequality is captured in them. The English filmmaker Ken Loach has made important political films throughout his career. However, his films never rely on capturing explicit physical violence to push its narrative.
It's my van, my insurance, my daughter. I thought it was my business.
Instead, he takes a very humanistic approach and focuses on interpersonal relationships to comment on social inequality. Or let's look at Jordan Peele's films, Get Out, Us and Nope. They use horror as a medium to talk about serious racial issues.
Goodbye.
Even before this, Keely and Peele used humor to make the commentary on race in the Comedy Central sketches. In the recent films of Swedish filmmaker Ruben Östlund, he uses satire to critique the inequality of social classes in films like The Squire or Triangle of Sadness.
So what do you do?
I sell shit. I sell shit.
So instead of using some of these creative techniques, why does Tamil cinema seem over-dependent on portraying physical violence? It is primarily because physical violence arouses audience easily and can be marketed as pulp drama. Instead of nudging the audience to think and reflect on the caste structure, these films are merely providing an adrenaline rush the same way any masala film would do. Well, actually, this has only been a recent trend. In the past, Tamil cinema too has been innovative in tackling the problem of caste, even though such films were only made rarely. Let's take a closer look at some of these interesting films. Filmmaker and actor K. Bhagyaraj Idu Nama Aalu released in 1988. In the film, he uses humor to raise important questions on caste.
Panjabatram. Oi, Dubakal vaindva. Ettana kal? Nee Brahmanan thane. Dubakal na ettana kal nu kekkre?
The actor plays a Navida in the film, a community that belongs to the backward caste category. The narrative creates a situation where he is forced to pretend as a Brahmin so that he can be employed and sell food in an agraharam. The context itself makes for an interesting take on the concept of purity and pollution. Bhagyaraj's character gets involved with the priest's family and the priest's daughter falls in love with him. The consequences are hilarious, but at the same time, the narrative makes an utter mockery of the Brahminical caste structure. In Bharati Raja's Vedam Pudhidu, the film strikes a conversation on caste between the Brahmin and the Deva community. This is unlike any other film we have seen on the Devas. Other films have either glorified the caste or looked at them as aggressors with respect to Dalits. But Vedam Pudhidu talks about an intercaste love between a Deva man and a Brahmin woman, where the Deva man is accidentally killed. It is not honor killing, but it is still interesting. The film imagines the Deva man's death while the Brahmin woman manages to survive. The film then uses a Brahmin kid as a reference point to critique how the Devas themselves today are being upholders of the Brahminical caste structure. The dialogue,
பாலுங்கிறது உங்க பேரு, பின்னால இருக்க தேவருங்கிறது நீங்க படிச்சு வாங்கின பட்டமா,
is iconic and has become part of Tamil pop culture. Vedam Pudiyathu must be one of those rare films where filmmaker has reflected on his own caste and critiqued it. It is even more important that it look his caste structure with the Brahmin and not make it all about the Dalits. In Alagil Oivadillai, Bharati Raja has looked at the overlapping of caste, class and religion, where intercaste love occurs between an affluent Christian girl from a backward caste and Hindu Brahmin boy from a relatively poor family. While the film is not path-breaking as Vedam Pudiyathu, it still makes for an interesting commentary. It sort of looks at how class mobility doesn't really change caste equations and how adolescent love is able to think beyond caste, class or religion. The next is my most favorite film in the list, something that might actually surprise you. A.P. Nagarajan's Thillana Mohanambal. We often imagine Thillana Mohanambal as a film on dance and music, but the film actually demolishes several stereotypes about the Isavailalar community. Isavailalars are a backward caste and the women from the community are extremely stereotyped in popular culture. In the film, the Bharatanatyam dancer Mona's character is played by actor Padmini. She is pursued by Zamindars and local princes to be their mistress, but she is in love with Sundaram, the Nadaswaram player, played by actor Shivaji Ganeshan. The film narrates their love through beautiful songs and dance sequences and how they overcome the caste hurdles that is often associated with their community. The film even portrays the role of a Brahmin through Nagesh's character, someone who tries to set Bharatanatyam dancers as mistresses for wealthy men. While we often think of Thillana Mohanambal as a film filled with musical and visual beauty, it also has effectively worked as an anti-caste film that has humanized the Isavailalar community. Kalaignar Karunanidhi, who has himself written iconic films like Parasakti and Manohara, considers Thillana Mohanambal as his most favorite. As someone from the same community, he clearly understands the humanizing effect the film has on their lives. Several decades later, Gangai Amaran almost remade Thillana Mohanambal as Karagatikaran with the same plot that humanizes the lives of folk dancers. As we can see, these films use humor, satire, romance, music and dance to drive home their anti-caste argument. And the fact that they're still popularly remembered proves the strength of their articulation. It would be interesting if our current generation of filmmakers move away from their obsession on Dalits and physical violence and focus more on the entire caste structure and use innovative techniques to allow the audience to think, reflect and react to their anti-caste arguments. That's it for this video. For more such videos, subscribe to Film Companion South. Thank you.